comes cassette. Gosh, I miss those times, man.
Just as we covered with the Kathir video, the Israeli Tetri has now been added to War Thunder. We also have 2 ground vehicles, both of which are premium. It's rumoured and highly likely that the Israeli ground Tetri will come in the next update, likely in February. At the minute, as I said, there are only 2 tanks you can access to, both of which you have to pay for. The first is the Israeli Sherman, and the second is the Merkava Mk.2D. The vehicle we'll be covering today. Basically being a copy and paste of the Merkava Mk.2B found in the American Tetri, there are some slight differences, but it's essentially just slightly different armour scheme. While the American version is an event vehicle and does not have premium bonuses, that's pretty much the major difference between these 2 vehicles. Well, that's enough of a background, lads. What about the vehicle in War Thunder? Well, the Merkava Mk.2D is a rank 6 battle rating 9.0 main battle tank located in the Israeli Tetri. It is of course a pack premium and must be bought on the Gaijin store for the cost of €60. You also get 15 days of premium time as well as 2,000 golden eagles. Being a premium, to put this vehicle in your lineup is going to cost you the standard 10,000 silver lions. Being a near top tier vehicle, I'd highly recommend getting the expert and ace qualifications, especially seeing as it shortens your reload speed. To get the expert qualification it's going to cost you 970,000 silver lions, and the ace qualification 2,100 golden eagles. In terms of the repair cost, in all 3 game modes it's going to cost you 4,770 silver lions to fully repair this vehicle. Going on to the rewards, and with a premium account and playing realistic battles, you can expect an RP modifier of 660% and a silver line modifier of 436%. In terms of customization, you have 3 camouflages available for golden eagles. So lads, without a tech tree to grind, is it really worth even buying this premium vehicle yet? Well, that's what we're going to try to answer today. Stick around for the rest of the video to find out. We now come on to arguably the biggest weak point of the Merkava series in general, the mobility. The tank is powered by an engine producing 963 horsepower, combined with the vehicle's weight of 63 tons, gives this tank a terrible power to weight ratio of 15.3 horsepower per ton. This would be pretty good for a World War II vehicle, but for battle rating 9.0, facing modern Cold War vehicles, it's rather atrocious. You feel huge and bloated, and very sluggish, and it's personally the reason that I feel so put off by this tank. You just can't react to the battlefield when it changes. It takes a long time to get to cap, so you're always second there. It allows enemies to take up a defensive position, forcing you to push them, instead of the other way around. While the Merkava design was obviously intended to be highly defensive, in War Thunder, the map design commonly focuses on offense, rather than defense. But the tank is fast, if you believe the stat card, with a top forward speed of 55 km per hour, but a rather disappointing reverse speed of 11 km per hour. Overall, Merkava's performance is just disappointing in general. It feels like you're playing a Centurion, just with a slightly bigger gun. Alright, moving on to the Armour Survivability. The first thing to mention is that the Merkava has a crew of 4 men, with a driver in the hull, and a commander gunner and loader located in the turret basket. Probably the biggest buff to the Merkava's performance is its survivability, and the main reason for this is the frontally mounted engine. This engine block acts as additional armour, and will likely soak up most of the early APF SDS rounds, but if you get up tiers to battle rating 10.0, the high performance 2nd generation APF SDS round is likely still going to penetrate both your frontal armour and your engine block, making its way into the crew compartment, likely knocking out the vehicle. This is very realistic, as remember, the Merkavas were designed to withstand RPGs, not peer-on-peer tank engagements. The tank also features some composite screening around the turret, which may give it a somewhat additional protection, but it's not going to do much against APF SDS. There are also 2 large ammunition bins, located in the rear of the hull. Taking a shot directly to these bins will cause an ammunition detonation, resulting in the loss of the vehicle. These are quite a large target, and can be easily hit by an experienced player with a side profile view of your vehicle, so always keep your front towards the enemy. But what about the armor protection itself? Well, against the Merkava's own gun and ammunition, you can see that our lower frontal plate has a total protection of 107mm, and with the upper frontal plate, that does increase to 174mm. Notice that both the crosshairs from these images are green, meaning your armor protection isn't amazing, considering the Merkava's gun, which we'll get to shortly, isn't exactly high performance for the battle rating. Next we move up to the turret breach, and the protection does increase substantially, up to around 260mm of protection. But again, as a battle rating where most APFSDS rounds increase over 300mm of penetration, this isn't really substantial protection against the tanks you'll find at a similar battle rating. Next we go to either side of the turret, and you can see the part that which houses the gunner and commander, we have around 140mm of protection. And the part of the turret which houses the loader, protection is slightly more, up to around 190mm of protection. And that's pretty much it for the Armour Survivability. While you might be able to soak up one additional round compared to any other vehicle, you are still going to be easily penetrated from all angles with this vehicle. While APFSDS rounds are still going to go right through you, you may be able to soak up some heat effects, and maybe some of the meme Soviet vehicles with APC-BC might not be able to kill you in a single hit. And considering most 9.0 matches now get dragged up to 9.7 thanks to the T72AV terms, your Armour Survivability isn't that good at all. We now come on to the weaponry, and just like the Merkava Mk.2D in the American tech tree, the Mk.2D is armed with a 105mm Sharia cannon. You can carry 62 rounds in total, and have a first stage ammunition rack containing 6 rounds. You have a base reload speed of 8.7 seconds, which drops down to 6.7 seconds with an ace crew. The turret traverse is pretty good, with 28 degrees per second rotation speed, and we have very good vertical guidance characteristics of the main gun, with 20 degrees of gun elevation, but a rather average 8 degrees of gun depression. Being a modern main battle tank, the gun is of course fully stabilised in both the horizontal and vertical planes. We also have a thermal imager for the gunner's sight, but not for the commander. This is a first generation imager, and is very blurry. You should use the thermal imaging for acquiring a target, and then turn the thermal off to actually shoot, as it allows for much more precise aiming in my opinion. We also have a standard 8x zoom in this vehicle. While this is good for long range, in the shorter range engagements, it is a little bit frustrating, as I often get tunnel vision. But let's move on to the ammunition. Our stock shell is an M152 heater fast round. Travelling at 1173 meters per second, it can penetrate 400mm of flat armour, and against armour angled at 60 degrees, it can penetrate 200mm. The warhead itself contains 1.27 kilos of TNT, giving it pretty decent post-penetration damage. This is a pretty decent stock shell, but remember this is a premium, so you'll never have to use it. We then also have the M416 smoke shell. It takes 5 seconds to deploy this round, it has a radius of 20 meters, and it holds that radius for 25 seconds. We then also have the M156 HESH round, or high explosive squash head. This contains 4.3 kilos of TNT, and can penetrate 127mm of armour at all ranges and angles. We then come on to the M111 round. This is an APFSDS round, and basically a DM23 clone. It travels at 1455 meters per second, and can penetrate 322mm of flat armour at a range of 1000 meters. And against armour angled at 60 degrees, it can still manage a respectable 186mm of penetration. So that's it lads. Apart from a few machine guns, that's all the Merkava has to offer. While it has the bog standard 105 NATO gun, and the same bog standard DM23 round, you certainly can't really complain about the firepower of this tank. While you'll mainly be facing opponents higher battle rating than you, due to the 9.7 vacuum, for a battle rating 9.0, the firepower is pretty good. Before we get into the conclusion, let me know down below what you guys think about the Merkava Mk.2D, and which tank, ship, plane or helicopter you guys would like to see reviewed next. To be honest lads, at the very minute, it's really not worth buying this premium. It's too slow for battle rating 9.0 in my opinion, and it just doesn't make up for it with the firepower or survivability. Pretty much every game you have you're going to be facing T72 terms, and they just cleave straight through you like a hot knife through butter. They have better thermals, mobility, firepower and protection really. They are 0.7 battle rating higher than you obviously, but you just get dragged up into the 9.7 vacuum. The only real reason to buy this premium at the minute is to crane up the crew skills for the Israeli tech tree, but I wouldn't say it's worth it to be honest. There's not too much more to say boys, it's decent in the old meta before the top tier premiums were added like the 9.7s. But now, any 9.0 premium is kind of just a little bit not really worth it. Most games at 8.7 to 9.0 are always going to be up tiered to 9.7 to 10.0. So all the veteran players with the old top tier premiums like the Leopard L44 have kind of all been screwed by the same new premium edition, but that's Guardian for you, can't do anything about it. As always, let me know down below what you guys want to see reviewed next, and thanks for watching. Alright lads, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, please do consider subscribing to the channel. You can also leave a like and a comment, which again, also boosts me in the algorithm, helping my channel to grow. You can also follow me on Twitter as well as Twitch. And if you're a huge fan of the channel, you can become a member of the YouTube channel, which will give you a unique icon next to your comment, in both comments under videos and on YouTube live streams. Once again, thank you very much for watching this far into the video lads, and I'll see you in the next one.